everybody, thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that Mystery School Volume 6 is now available, as well as Ancient History Volume 5. So definitely pick those up. But, reincarnation. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is because a lot of people seems like, it's so far-fetched to believe in such a thing, and that it's like in left field or crazy or stupid to believe in such a thing. Now, one of the things a lot of people don't understand is almost every civilization in the ancient world that we know of talked about and believed in reincarnation. It's just that simple. They believed in spirit, they believed in energy, they believed in reincarnation, and it's something that they spoke about, and it's something that we see even still to this day in a lot of civilizations. Just about every religion talks about reincarnation. So you have, the Asians, of course, with Buddhism. You have Sikhism. You have many religions that's getting into reincarnations. And the three main religions, when you understand esoterically in the parables, is also giving you reincarnation. So when you look back in the ancient world, everywhere you look, you're going to see references to reincarnation. The ancient Egyptians believed in it. We know from the story of Osiris, we have reincarnation. We know about Amenemhet the First taking the name We Him Misut, which translates into repeater of birth, just like Seti I translates into repeater of birth when you understand, these names and what it's talking about. So we see in ancient Egypt, they believed in reincarnation. And a lot of people don't understand in the Bible. Tells you clear as day with John 3, when it says, 3, Jesus answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except the man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Nicodemus said unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter a second time into his mother's womb and be born? And Jesus reiterates. He doesn't say, well, let me explain to you, being born again means you just got to start acting good and not doing bad stuff. He reiterates and he says, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. And those who understand esoterically understand it's talking about the cycle of life, the wheel of reincarnation, plain and simple. So when you go back and look at these ancient civilizations that basically talked about the woman in the womb, we know about ancient Kemet, it's basically showing us the womb and the cycle of life through the female womb, plain and simple. So it's there, it's clear, and it's a lot more that people got to look into when getting into reincarnation, and how it's not so far-fetched, and how so many different civilizations spoke about it. So now you have many of the philosophers, especially the ones coming out of ancient Kemet, Thales and Pythagoras and Aristotle, and all these people, Plato and all of them believed in reincarnation and talked about reincarnation. We get from Pythagoras this whole theory on reincarnation. Same thing with Thales. So this stuff that was talked about in ancient Greece and throughout the ancient world, and it's something that was basically understood as being a possibility or not far-fetched, which a lot of people, when I start talking about this in previous video, was acting as if this was something that's so crazy, when it's something that if you actually done the research and looked in the ancient world, it's everywhere. So I understand why people who claim they're doing research is not seeing this stuff. It's right there, it's everywhere, and everybody spoke about it. And you get people that say, okay, well, I can't see how we can have this entire life and all these memories or what have you. When you're born, you don't know nothing of the past life. And I mean, it's basically, when we talk about death being, the cousin of sleep, or sleep being a cousin of death, or what have you, it's the same thing when you go to sleep. It's the same thing when you dream. You can have so many dreams and be dreaming about the most craziest thing, and you wake up and don't remember nothing. So how is it so far-fetched that the same thing could be possible during the wheel of reincarnation, this whole cycle of life? It's a possibility. We're talking about the same stuff. You also have to take into consideration, as I said before, the fact that when you are dreaming, when you are in a dream world, you have no clue that in reality you are in the bed sleep. You have no clue that in reality you're on the floor passed out, or on the couch passed out, that you fell asleep watching TV. You're in a dream world believing that that dream world is real, and what's taking place is something that is real. But in reality, you're just in the bed sleep. So it's a lot, energy-wise, that people don't understand, that makes, you know, perfect sense when you're talking about something like reincarnation and understanding dreams. Now, I don't expect, you know, Christians to really get into this stuff and really try to understand it, even though it's talking about it in a book. A lot of people don't want to accept that fate and that understanding, but it's a lot esoterically when you understand religion that it's just giving you about reincarnation, about this being hell and this being the afterlife, as I talk about in my videos. You gotta understand that. So as I said before, if, you know, energy is everything, and, you know, like I said before, if you take a body that's alive, you slice the arm, it will basically heal. You know, that's energy at work. You do it to a dead body, it will not heal. So we have the understanding that energy is animating everything living. And if energy is the true life that's animating physical, you know, this physical stuff, these physical animals and beings or what have you, then energy would be the true living being and not this material stuff. So what happens when you die will be the true living, the true life, and this is the after. If you really understand what the Egyptians was talking about, and I get into this in the videos. But again, if you're not into energy and understanding all this stuff and, you know, what they talk about in the occult and esoteric circles, this is tough for people to grasp. So you can take Einstein, his whole talk about energy, saying that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but only transformed from one form to another. So if we take that and you understand that when we have this energy, we have this so-called soul, and that people who don't believe in reincarnation think that every time a person is born, it's just this new energy over and over again. We're just creating all this new energy. That, you know, when you really get into it deeply, you understand that you have two people who come together. And I get into all this about energy, and you have the masculine energy basically awakened in the woman by the man, and the feminine energy awakened in the man by the woman, which is creating this life, you know, whether you understand that or not. And that we have these traits from our parents, that when we grow up, we do stuff that they did, and we have the talents that they did, because this energy is being passed down and creating this life, that it's an energetic energy that's being passed down and creating this new life. But it's from the same energy. It's from energy, not new energy, just energy that has always been, that has this knowledge and information, you know, if you can understand that and grasp it. So, you know, when you look at it from that point, we're not creating new energy because it's not possible to do so. We're transferring energy from one form to another, just as Einstein said. Now, you have a lot of Christians that say, oh, it's crazy or it's stupid to believe in reincarnation, yet they believe that Noah was able to fit, you know, thousands of species of insects and cats and dogs on the ark, not to mention all the other animals. So, you know, it's crazy when you take something that's clearly impossible and you know, shun something that's possible, that many civilizations talked about, that is, you know, plausible. It's completely believable when you really understand. So we have with the Buddhas in Buddhism, them having a whole system, you know, looking at the Buddhist monks in Tibet, the whole system they have of reincarnation, how they have, according to them and according to anybody who's willing to believe, have effectively been able to pinpoint and track and prove reincarnation. They have the ceremonies where they have the kid, talked about this in Buddhism DVD, when they have the kid basically select items that they believe used to belong to him in a former life. And this stuff happens. The same thing with the Dalai Lama and all this stuff and everything, you know, when you get into that information. So the fact that you have all the ancient civilizations believing in it, and then, you know, Buddhism has been around for a long time, modern civilization still believing in Buddhism, shows you it's not far-fetched. It's stuff that was talked about, stuff that's been sticking around for a long time. So when you get into that type of information, you know, to understand it, you have to really understand human energy and how that whole thing works. And you have to really get into a lot more information and study a lot to really get how something like this is possible and why it would occur. So when you get into the ancient Egyptian teachings, this is something that, you know, will be revealed to you in understanding what they talked about. And esoterically with the Bible, it's telling you the same thing. Same thing with the Torah and the Quran. It's giving you the same stuff, because that's where they got the information from anyway, if you understand. So, you know, what reincarnation is, something that as they talked about in ancient Kemet, that you want to escape and you want to control, and being able to control it is, that's tough. Being able to escape it now, because when you get into the information, you'll see how that changed from controlling it to escaping it. So at one point, it was something we was able to do, and now it's something that we need to escape for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into all that in this video. Talked about it in previous videos. But, that's what it's about now. Stuff has happened on this planet, and your goal is to escape the wheel of reincarnation. And whether you understand it or not, if you want to go through what they talked about, you have possibly been here for thousands of years. You have possibly been through the, water reality as some type of water creature, insect creature, bird, cat, what have you. Lastly, you incarnate as a human. So many different belief systems that believe and taught this information and had this understanding about reincarnation and about how to take the necessary steps. And with Buddhism, they believe in, karmic consequences, and that if you are out of sync with your energy and karma, and you would basically not be spiritually strong enough to survive reincarnating back into human form, that you felt so low in consciousness and energy that you will reincarnate as a animal. So they have like a big celebration when they feel like they found somebody that did reincarnate and make it back to the realm of a human body, and it's a big festival. So it's a lot of stuff you can get into. If anybody wants to really get into the information, it's out there, and it's up to you to choose to believe or to accept what's being said, but to really understand how it's possible. And so many things support it when you really get into the information. People got to understand, one, that the system, as I just talked about in mystery school, the system that we are living in is a created system for us, plain and simple. And some people don't think about what life is about. It's just you born into a system. There are rules you got to follow. It's stuff that people before you have done to be successful, and you follow what the system tells you to follow. And people think that's life. People think this is what we've been put here to do, to go to school, work, pay taxes and die, and that's not the case. So you really have to ask yourself, what do you believe your purpose is? What are you here for? What is your purpose? So some people think that something involving, the business world, or, something that fits within this system that was created for us to basically be lost in, is their purpose. So you have people that say, oh yeah, it was my purpose to play ball. Well, no, that's something a man created for you to do. It's not your purpose. My purpose is, to play baseball, to be a dancer or a rapper. That's not your purpose. That's something that a man created, that you can make money off of. It's not your purpose here. So when you couple that, or ask yourself that same question in every facet of, working or career, you have to understand, one, that was something that's created by another person for you to follow, for you to be subjected to. It's not your true purpose. So then what is your true purpose? And that goes back to, understanding what everybody else talked about. So again, if you want to take it on a spiritual route and understanding one of the ancients was far more spiritual than we are today, did the same stuff. They was into the same stuff. Energy, spirituality. It wasn't about material. So what has happened is that, spirituality has been, done away with and put into the realm of spooky. And, all the old gods was done away with, the so-called, gods was done away with, that was put here and created. And that's one of the things, as I always say, people got to understand, we don't worship Osiris, we don't worship these Egyptian gods. They were created to explain these things about life and reality and, the body, the mind. This is what these people represent. They're not there to be worshipped. It's for you to understand existence itself. So, you can go back and look at what they talked about and how all of this information was a part of you getting and understanding your experience as, a human on this planet and what you need to be doing. So even if you are a Christian, you're going to work, you doing what you're doing, and your lifestyle is not following what the Bible says is right before your God. So even as a Christian or religious person, you're not living what you believe is the life you should live before God. So you're in a system. And even as a religious person, you can't believe that your purpose in that religion is to follow the system. You should be doing something that's conducive to your religion. And most people are not. They're doing little stuff here and there, but their full life is not conducive to the religion, which the religions tell you if you're not doing everything right with the book, then you shouldn't be doing nothing at all, because you ain't gonna get into heaven anyway. So again, stuff man created. If you understand that man created, then you have to understand and figure out what is your true purpose, plain and simple. And if you understand the consequences of what they're talking about in the ancient world, that if you do not get or understand or fulfill your purpose, then reincarnation is a possibility. So the whole concept of a hell, when you understand that if this is the afterlife, this is hell, as I always talk about. We've seen the movie Constantine, they show earth as hell. If you really understand esoterically what the book is saying, this is hell, and you've heard that before, that concept. It's a true concept when you understand it. Then you understand that you're already dead and this is hell, and your job is to basically escape and get out of here. When you really get it, don't get scared, don't be spooky about that concept. You need to get that this stuff is just spooky stuff, created to keep you away from it, because they don't want you knowing the truth. And that you need to embrace and understand what this stuff is saying. And that, yeah, even though you may be, into biblical religion, into any of the Abrahamic religions, and that they have a concept of hell, the concept came from the ancient world, plain and simple. That's where it came from. So when you understand esoterically what this stuff is talking about, your goal should be not to reincarnate. That's not what you want. And your goal should be to get spiritually right and to ascend, and to understand that, you have a lot of these Christians that say, well, I'm going to act like I'm a Christian, and if I'm wrong, I'm fine. But if you're wrong, you're going to burn.